Residing in the western Rakhine state in Myanmar near Bangladesh, the Rohingya are an Indo-Aryan people group with their own language, religion, and customs. They are a stateless and predominantly Muslim ethnic group. They also happen to be the least assimilated group in Myanmar, also referred to as Burma, and described as some of the world's most persecuted people. Roughly speaking, hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians are being targeted, murdered, and persecuted by a conflict ignited by the fighting between the Burmese military and insurgent Rohingya paramilitary groups. The persecution is supported by radicalized Buddhists, Buddhism being the religious majority of the country. Being denied rights such as travel, citizenship, or even the right to receive a higher education, there's been an ongoing dehumanization, conflicts, and religious tension for over half a century. Historically, in the 18th century, the last Burmese king, Phiba, took over, and his short reign ended with Upper Burma being subject to the British Empire. In World War II, things got really messy. The Rohingya were allied to the British, while Burma was allied with the Japanese. They gained independence, and Burma wanted the Rohingya to leave. They stopped being recognized by the government and instead seen as illegal immigrants in their own home. However, the situation had not blown out to the persecution by the government that it is today until initial attacks by Rohingya insurgent groups around the 2010s. This caused the government to lash out violently on the innocent civilians.
Definition of ethnic and religious persecution. Even when some factors, like the type of harassment, may vary between different scenarios of religious and/or ethnic persecution, what it will mean to this group of people and origins are very similar. A new growing rate or spreading of ethnicity into a hermetic environment that is already controlled by another one, and their culture, religions, and practices, meaning that this bigger group has the ability to manipulate the other one in any way. In the case of religious persecution, the goal is to set aside this other group for reasons like finding them dangerous or going against the beliefs approved by the majority. It's important to mention that there is always a correlation between the persecutor and who is being persecuted and minorities and majorities. There are many known atrocities going from arson to extortion going on in Myanmar. Still, regarding statistics, there isn't a clear evidence or number due to the government denying to give so. For example, according to the World Report 2018, between 2017 and 2018, there were a total of 382 Rohingya villages destroyed, which the government ended up hiding all the evidence of. According to the article, there are almost 125,000 cases of Rohingya concentration camps and another 5,000 cases of people stuck against the wheel in the border between Bangladesh and Myanmar, described as no man's land. 730,000 Rohingya have successfully fled in 2017, and another 14,500 almost reaching a million in only 2 years. Overall, the most alarming factor is that there is an estimation of almost 500,000 people still being held in Rakhine.
The global response from the government and citizens of Bangladesh has been the most helpful to this situation. The Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina made a peaceful proposal that had the objective of helping solve this crisis. Being Bangladesh, Myanmar's neighbor, Hasina allowed Rohingyas to come freely to this country. Bangladesh made many attempts of repatriation for the Muslims and provided life-saving humanitarian assistance for them.
What can be done to help? Well, the UN is helping the Rohingya refugees in 6 different ways: relocating them in safer ground, strengthening their shelters, improving the canal systems to prevent flooding. They're also providing health clinics to take care of the health of girls and women, improving their programs to provide food and minimize hunger, and lastly, by addressing health risks and providing the health services the refugees need. But what can we do? Well, there's no direct way in which we can help, but we can raise our voice to create awareness. Also, we can help by donating to the UN humanitarian fund to aid Rohingya Muslims, or creating fundraisers to raise money for the refugees that most need it.